Initiating moisture protocol.
Hello there, tonight's moisture content analysis will be conducted on the A Wrinkle in Time movie. It's a smelly one, yeah, this is a real fucking stinker. The movie is abominable. It's a really bad movie, and I do mean that. So the movie revolves around a girl named Meg whose father goes missing. He's a scientist, he's super smart. Meg herself is super smart, and she goes on a journey through space and time to save her father, accompanied by her brother Charles Wallace. That's a name you need to get used to hearing if you plan on seeing this movie because they never stop fucking saying that name throughout the entirety of the movie. Her father has been captured by the It, which is a darkness that is turning people on Earth into meanies, and there's only one way to stop it: through love. Now, I mentioned Charles Wallace being an integral name in this movie, and it truly is. Anytime that character is talked about, referenced, passed, if the character farts, if you hear a fart, you know a character is going to say Charles Wallace. It's unfucking believable how many times they said that name. Every single time. They always say Charles Wallace. I heard that name so many fucking times. I heard Charles Wallace so many fucking times it made me want to shit. Holy shit. You know, if they're talking to him, they don't just say you know. If they're directly talking to him, they make sure to say his full name, an example sentence. How do you feel about that, Charles Wallace? Why do you think that, Charles Wallace? But Charles Wallace, why do you, Charles Wallace, have that opinion? It's infuriating, absolutely infuriating. It becomes like nails on a chalkboard. It just gets downright painful after hearing it for a millionth time in this movie. It feels like you're getting slapped in the face while getting mauled by a lion, while getting bit by a shark when that name's tossed around. It's just too much. If you looked at the script for this movie, the overwhelming majority of every word on that script would say Charles Wallace. Holy shit, and I'm not exaggerating either. They never say anything other than his full name, like he's just committed a crime around the house with his chores and the parents are upset. Charles Wallace, get over here this instant. It's always, in any type of situation, casual or serious, they say his full name. It's never just my brother, or my son. They'll say my brother Charles Wallace or my son Charles Wallace. They came so close at the end to only saying my son when talking about the kid, but instead the line became, "It's good to see you, my son Charles Wallace." Just feels so unnatural and robotic, and it's frustrating. Downright frustrating to keep hearing it. Holy shit. And then there's another really frustrating character to keep being beat over the face with, and it's a girl that talks in nothing but quotes or excerpts from famous people, and it's usually unrelated and it doesn't really have too much significance. She's a very useless character in this movie, but to keep hearing this dumb cryptic shit, the foot farts when the man shits. Who gives a shit? It's stupid. It's just dumb. It doesn't progress the plot. It's just a silly gimmick, and it makes no sense. And the plot itself is awful. I don't mean to spoil this whole movie for you, but if you've read the book or seen the awful film adaptation from before this one, you know how it goes. The end of the movie is the most embarrassing thing to sit through. Probably my least favorite ending to a movie I've ever seen in my life. It ends with Meg confronting the It, which has taken over Charles Wallace, and she beats it by saying, "I love you," 50 fucking times. And then finally, the haymaker, the knockout blow, as she says, "I love myself too," and then bang! All of a sudden the darkness is gone and everyone on Earth is shaking each other's hands and jerking each other off because she saved the fucking world. It's so dumb. The whole movie is just really dumb. I get it's for kids. Yes, I'm not stupid. I understand. But I don't even see how a kid would like this movie. There's really nothing in here. There's no real action. There's no real good story. It's an absolute mess of a plot. The visuals are also extremely lacking. You would think a movie like this would have fantastic visuals, but it doesn't. It's very dull. It's very generic. It's just not good even in the visuals department. They're passable. Yeah, I'm not saying they're horrible, but man, they're just not very inspired or creative. It's just underwhelming. Very, very underwhelming. Oh my goodness. And the performances from the adult actors were just very lazy. You could tell they didn't really care to be there. They didn't try very hard. The kid actors really put their best foot forward, and yeah, they did a good job acting and shit, I guess, but it doesn't help the movie because the movie's just a jumbled mess of shit. Like an absolute festering pile of fecal matter. It's just not good. Now, I will say, the score in this movie is pretty good. They have nice soundtrack. I don't want to say soundtrack because they shoehorn in some awful pop songs for no reason in here. But when they're not doing that, they have a really nice sounding movie. But it's just not good. It really isn't, no matter how you look at this movie. How people are saying it's good is beyond me. We have to have watched different movies because sitting through that was so embarrassing. And that's not something I toss around lightly. It was just so silly and cliche. I couldn't feel anything but embarrassment for being there watching it and having paid to see it. It's so bad. It's just really dumb. Let's plug this shit into the moist meter. I'm giving it a 20%. I know with everything I said that seems high, but I do want to stress the movie is competent. It is a competently made movie, albeit an over-reliance on close-up shots and standstills of people staring. It really relies on that heavily, which has no place in a sci-fi movie where it's supposed to be about this beautiful scenery and shit. But it's still a competently shot and made movie. There's a beginning, middle, and end, none of them being very good, but it's all there and done, at least to a passable extent. And like I said, the score is pretty decent, and the visuals are fine. It's just you would expect more from something like this. It's just, it's really not worth seeing. Even as a fan of the book, or if you're a fan of anything with quality, this isn't something you'll enjoy. It's not so bad it's good. It's so bad you want to get the fuck out of there. That's it. See ya.